Hi guys, you are going to start your last topic notes for the first quarter. Your last topic is going to be on topic 4. We're skipping over topic 3, so topic 4 is adding and subtracting rational numbers. But before we start adding and subtracting rational numbers, you should first be able to identify what rational numbers are. So there are a couple of different categories within rational numbers. And the very first one that you always start with, even as a kid, is called natural numbers. So let's go ahead and go over the definition of that, and then I'll go over the examples of each one also. Okay, so natural numbers include whole numbers starting with the number 1, and you increase from there. Often these are called our counting numbers, which are our numbers that we first learn. There are no fractions, decimals, or negatives in our natural numbers. Okay, so if we look at all of those examples over to the side, the only natural numbers that you see over there are 5, 126, and 44. Remember, they start with 1, so it can't be 0. There are no fractions, and there are no negative numbers, so those 3 cannot be an example of a natural number. Okay, then we have whole numbers. Whole numbers include natural numbers, but this time they start with 0 and increase from there. So whole numbers and natural numbers are very, very similar, except for they include the number 0. So once again, there are still no fractions, still no decimals, and still no negatives. Okay. So if we look at these examples, automatically you should go ahead and circle 0 because 0 is now included when it wasn't before, but we still have no fractions, no decimals, and no negative numbers. So the whole numbers also include your natural numbers and 0. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to the next category, which are integers. Okay, so integers. This time, integers include positive numbers. So we'll put positive and negative whole numbers. So notice that it said it includes whole numbers. So pretty much we're building on each category. So natural numbers was just 1 going up. Whole numbers now included 0 and going up. Integers includes the natural numbers, whole numbers, and this time it's also going to include negatives. We still have no fractions or decimals for this category. Okay? So this time we can include our negative number. Our 0 is now included. Still no fractions. Here's another one, and no decimals. Okay, and then our last category is going to pretty much include it all. So this will include any positive or negative number that can be written in fraction form. Now, what that means is pretty much any number that can be written in fraction form is a rational number. So this will include decimals. So that means all terminating and repeating decimals are included because those terminating and repeating decimals can be written as a fraction. So for example, terminating means that it stops. So 0.5, it stops. It's a terminating decimal, and 0.5 can be written as a fraction, as 1/2. So that would be considered a rational number. Okay, so this includes all types of numbers that we've talked about so far. It does not include non-repeating, non-terminating decimals or decimals that go on forever and never without a pattern. Okay, so these examples are 2.343434 ... So it's a repeating decimal, which means it can be written as a fraction. So that one is a rational number. -3 or 34.5 is a rational number. It's written as a fraction, so it is a rational number. 0 is included because it is considered a whole number, which is also a rational number. And then 17 is included. The square root of 2, if you write this as a decimal, it's a non-repeating decimal that goes on and on and on, so it's non-terminating. So this one will not be considered a rational number. And then, as you guys know, pi goes on and on and on and doesn't repeat, so it's not considered a rational number. Numbers that aren't considered rational numbers are called irrational numbers, which you'll learn about later. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go on to the bottom here. All right, I'm going to give you some examples for the rational numbers, and then we'll go down. So notice that inside the box here, it's going to, rational numbers includes all of those numbers on the inside, but you'll notice that not all of the numbers on the inside are inside natural numbers. So it kind of works its way out. Think of it like those cooking bowls. Okay, so rational numbers is the largest cooking bowl, and everything can fit inside rational numbers, but not everything can fit inside like the natural numbers bowl or the whole numbers bowl. The only thing that can fit inside the whole numbers bowl is the natural numbers bowl. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples that you can write inside this picture. That way it'll help you remember. So let's just start with natural numbers. Remember, those were our counting numbers. So 1, 2, 3, ... and goes on and on, forward and forward. Whole numbers were the same thing, except for it included the number 0. So 1, 2, 3 with the 0. Okay, integers finally included negative numbers. So we can do ... -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, ... And then rational numbers included all of that, along with any decimals that repeated. So we can do 0, -1, -10, 1/2, -5.4, 0.3 repeating because that's like 1/3, 5.643. I mean, those are all rational numbers. Okay, so let's answer those questions off to the side. And this will be very similar to your first homework page. For topic 4, it says, what is the smallest and largest category for the number 0 that it can be put in? Okay, well, the smallest category is whole numbers because it's not a natural number. The smallest category is whole numbers. So we'll put whole numbers. And then the largest category that it can fit in is the overall, the biggest category that it can fit in is rational numbers. Okay, what is the smallest and largest category the number -18 can fit into? Well, negative numbers didn't start until integers. So the smallest category would be integers. And then the largest category is negative numbers are inside rational numbers. And then what is the smallest category 1/3 can be put into? Well, the only category that includes fractions are rational numbers. So the smallest and the largest are rational numbers. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and go to the back. The back should be pretty much review for you guys since you did this last year, but we just want to go over it just to make sure you understand it. So a positive number is any number that is greater than 0. So let's put greater than 0. And a negative number is any number less than 0. 0 is a neutral number. So it cannot be considered positive or negative. So it's neutral. You will have to remember how to put numbers in order from either least to greatest or greatest to least. So make sure you're reading the question. For this particular one, they want us to put it in least to greatest. So when we do this, we have -8.5 in the first one. And I always like to cross it off as I go to help me figure it out. Then -8 is next. Then -7.5. Okay, then I got rid of all of my negatives. Remember, the bigger the negative, the smaller the number is. So all my negatives are gone. And then I have 0, 2, and 2.25. Okay, from this point, I'm going to add another video that will continue the rest.